Your photographer narrator, Fred Rackle. It's almost a month following the Kilauea eruption, and we have signs of activity about 30 miles further along the Kilauea Rift, which is laced with the underground plumbing from Kilauea. Much of the sparsely populated Puna area had been clear of that Filipino store. They're working hard to cool the lava as we see the huge force continuing close to the rear, wetting down the storefront. Watch here now as that top collapses. Wow! The firemen go nonchalantly back to work. Coming closer around the side now. Just look at that giant fountain to the rear. The firemen have to finally give up, though, as the store finally burns to the ground. The sun is obscured by smoke and fumes and has a weird appearance considering it's midday. The fountain appears ever higher, and we're growing suspicious and fantasize that it might go on forever with the output and maybe even bury the island. Some of the high-flow siding touches in on the Young Buddhist Association school. Firemen have once again been trying, but again failing, as the school is now destroyed. At night, the fountain is higher yet to an estimated 1,500 feet and extremely wide at the base. Most beautiful, but awesome. From the hill above town, we can see a new channel of output, sending a fast-moving Pahoehoe River down the center of the flow. We're over a mile out now upon the semi-hardened main flow, with this lava river moving at about 10 miles per hour. This is the force that is beneath the main flow, pushing and spreading the flow, heading onward, closer yet into a section of the channel. Like a blast furnace here, we have to move back after only the short spell with the high heat. Here's the flow heading, which is much slower and much higher, about 15 feet at this point. But this is a relentless force that reaches out to do damage to anything in its path. We look closer directly at this wall of molten rock that in another minute will be moving over where we are, now standing. We'd better move, huh? The relentless flow moves in through a grove of tall cocoa palms, pushing some over with the force, and destroys the Coast Guard lighthouse station grounds and the personnel quarters, of which we'd seen the entrance earlier. Then into the sea once again, threatening more new land. Watch here for a tremendous explosion, and note this is how black sand beaches are created. We're on the coast looking north to the advancing flow, but we'll become airborne for the next scene to explain a new development. Look back to the fountain 5 to 6 miles inland and follow the wide lava flow to the sea. The ocean-cooled lava has formed its own giant dike and is curved around to come down the coast directly toward the Kapoho Beach Lots subdivision of about 30 homes. Let's go back to the fast-moving river in the center of the wide flow for better detail than we could see that night. This again is the Pahoehoe center of the 2-mile-wide lava flow. It is 10 miles per hour in speed, but which becomes less evident as nearing the flow heading. For it is a force that spreads beneath the entire flow and keeps it moving. It is very dangerous to be close to, and at this point we had to back out fast. We're looking down the same river toward the sea about 2 miles distant. This is still the flow that we're on. The whole mass is molten below and is moving. The lava flow along the coast is rolling over the walls of the beach lot homes and moving in on some of the properties. This house still being evacuated, the occupants having waited till the very last minute. Many people just refuse to believe that they'll be hit until they see it 50 yards close. Most of the homes have beautiful fish ponds and gardens, and as the relentless lava moves on through, uncaring of the surroundings, we can't help but think, what a terrible waste. The section of the low heading shows the average speed, which is considerably safe to walk away from, and it is lava. being of the rough, crumbly type. Here steam rises as lava enters one of the fish ponds. The water boils, many of the carp and other kinds of tropical fish are killed. That beautiful home we saw a short time back being evacuated is now being destroyed. Lava continues to press over the walls from the sea and moves here into the Sammy Miura house. Sammy was well known, had a bar in Kapoho, was a friend of all us photographers. Another home burns as the flow hits it and moves on. Looking across this row of fish ponds, we see through the steam another house being approached by lava, and note the firemen, for the first time this day, doing their duty as they see it. Another home goes as the action moves on. In this one morning, 16 of the properties were burned and buried. Madame Pelly had again been on a destructive rampage. Back at the cinder cone area, we note that the fountain is somewhat lower, and there are now two small fountains pumping out from the base of the cone into the upper valley at the west end of the crater, where those papaya fields were earlier, and where the several farm homes had been destroyed. This is high volume for such a small fountain, and pouring here right out toward our camera. The fast-moving river pushing more of the highly fluid pahoehoe out onto the lake, now trapped in this upper valley. This outbreak has taken the force off of that running toward the ocean and the beach lot homes, and because of the terrain, it has almost nowhere to go. The giant cone blocks all that new lava from running toward what had been downhill, and huge high flows that had wiped out Kapoho town block the mass from each side, so it forms a lake in this upper valley and just spreads out wide. Look at this slithering mass coming in on us now. The entire flow surface becomes a massive collection of these little lava falls, very pretty to observe. And we think the eruption is almost ending, for the volume is lessening, and we see the fountains more red than yellow, indicating lesser temperature, and the higher cinder cone appears to be breaking down in sections. And the falling lava is more like bombs, wet and heavy as it seems to tear the cone apart. It's really pounding hard on that rim. This is to be the last night of eruption, for come daylight, the fountaining at the base is stopped, and the little fountaining of the main cone is dying down fast. Only an occasional burst is seen spattering forth. Returning now to the hill area, we look upon the row of dismal store remains, with little left to either side. Let's look at a flashback replay of this area at the start of eruption, a scene of tranquil beauty, but with disaster imposed by the giant eruption only 300 yards distant in the backyard. Back to the reality of what's left now. From that remains to the left and panning to the right, the town of Kapoho has been buried beneath this mountainous lava flow, and the beautiful productive farm valley completely inundated in this 6 weeks of devastating volcanic activity. This is the end of our film. Thanks for looking and listening. Your photographer and narrator, Fred Rackle.